Welcome to the 131st edition of Pod Universal, India's first and leading pod magazine, published by Prime Point Foundation. I am K. Srinivasan, editor of Pod Universal, welcoming you to this show. This show is also part of the 60th edition, that is February 2011 edition of ISI in Presence. In this edition, we are featuring Dr. Subramanian Swamy, President of Janata Party and a very well-known politician of India. Presently, Dr. Subramanian Swamy is being featured in all the print and television media almost every day for his sustained effort in bringing out the 2G scam through the judiciary. He is also known for his perseverance. Whatever issue he takes up, he takes it to the logical end. Even during the emergency days in early 1970s, he was known for his continuous fight for restoring democracy in India. Even he was removed from taking classes in IIT Delhi in 1970s. He fought till the end and finally he became the member of the governing council of IIT Delhi also. Even in Ram Janmabhoomi issue, only because of his sustained efforts, the court stayed the operations and ordered to consider rerouting the canal to respect the sentiments of billions of Hindus. He is a visiting professor in Harvard University. Presently, many of our youngsters get discouraged and demotivated when they face the failure for the first time and withdraw without pursuing their mission. On the other hand, Dr. Subramanian Swamy used to take all the issues to the logical end, braving all challenges. Though all the media prefer to take his interview on political issues, on behalf of Pod Universal, we prefer to know from him his secret behind the perseverance qualities. Please listen to him now. Welcome to Pod Universal show, Dr. Subramanian Swamy. Yes. We are very happy to welcome you for our show. Yeah. This is for the Diamond Jubilee edition of our ISI in Presence. Sir, you have known for your perseverance. Whatever the topics that you take, you always take it to the logical end. Yes. Be it emergency or IIT issues or even the current 2G spectrums. Now, what do you feel about the present day youngsters and the perseverance? What is the message that you would like to give it to them?
Well, the message I would give to them is that goal achievements are not done by being attached to the goal. In fact, if you are brought up in properly in the Hindu tradition, you'll know that the only freedom you have is the freedom of action. And the outcome of that action is not linear. There's no linear relationship. By that I mean that if you do X amount of energy, then you'll get the output in that proportion. Sometimes you can have a lot of effort and get nothing, and sometimes without much effort you will get a lot. So this is explained in Bhagavad Gita as the law of karma. And if you have accumulated karma and then with a little additional karma you can achieve your goal. So I think the first principle that one must imbibe is that I will work for a goal, but I know that that it's not necessary that the goal will be dependent on how hard I work. I have to work to my hardest and my best, but I should not be disappointed if the goal is not reached. Once that tension goes, that stress goes, that am I doing enough, am I capable enough, people only say that, well, I've done my best, I couldn't have done anything more, and leave the outcome for other forces to determine. But then I think a new mental makeup comes. The second thing I find is that people are afraid to take risk in India. We are risk-averse people. If you do not take risk, you are not likely to achieve high goals. And when you take risk, there is always a probability of failure. So that risk-taking attitude has to come. And finally, perseverance is an amalgam of multiple intelligences. It's no more today correct or adequate to say that cognate intelligence is everything. That is the ability to know mathematics or physics or logic and so on. These are all cognitive, development of cognitive intelligence. But there's a whole other set of dimensions, at least another 4 dimensions besides the cognitive intelligence, and that is emotional intelligence, social intelligence, moral intelligence, spiritual intelligence. Now the spiritual intelligence is the thing that we Hindus had discovered to a great extent in all our thinking. These rishis, you see, had laid down the principles where they had come to the conclusion that knowledge is in the cosmos, and you need to develop your neural Wi-Fi, if I may call it, in modern language, to connect to that cosmos. And that's how geniuses are born. And these are all parts of the perseverance. Perseverance comes when you know that you are an instrument of the divine, and therefore what you are doing is your duty to do your best. Now that attitude comes, then you will persevere. But if you get disheartened, your perseverance will evaporate, and you get disheartened when you hold yourself personally responsible for the outcome. This is how it happens.
So whenever we see you on a television, even if it is a tense moment, we get tensed up, but you feel you are very cool and very laughing, even when the whole nation is tensed up. How are you able to manage that particular situation?
Yeah, that's what is called suppression of ego, you see. When you think that people who get tense and serious are people who have an overgrown ego, that somehow they are responsible for all that good happens and all that bad happens. That's where the tension comes from. Otherwise, anybody who thinks that I am only an instrument in this whole thing and I'll do my duty can never be tense.
What you would like to convey a message through this podcast to the youngsters, present-day youngsters?
I've been emphasizing, I emphasize this in all my lectures to youngsters around the country. I'm going, for instance, I go to IIM, I'm going to the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore on 23rd of February, for example. The main message I deliver to students is that greed is an outcome of a materialistic society. Our Varna system, which has degenerated today because it has been connected to birth. It was never birth. But if you go back to the original concept, what do you find? That it's basically decentralization of power. That those who had knowledge didn't have weapons and didn't have wealth. Those who had weapons could not make policy. Those who had wealth did not have high social status in society. Like that, that's how the division of society was made, and that's deliberately done because of the fact that if you have wealth and then your social status is going to be determined by wealth, then you will become greedy. If you have power and you are the lord and master of everything you survey, then you will become an autocrat. And therefore this division took place. So I would say that the thing that I would say to the students is, don't be greedy. Don't try to develop your life purely on materialistic principles. There are spiritual values which you must imbibe. Otherwise, why is the need for the Americans to come running after our sadhus? You go to Sri Ravi Shankar's ashram or Swami Dayanand Saraswati's ashram or Ramdev's ashram, you find so many foreigners. You hear stories about people like Julia Roberts, who is one of the most well-known actresses of Hollywood, suddenly converting to Hinduism. Despite all our poverty, backwardness, all the bad things that you hear about, why are they doing that? And the reason they are doing that is that a pure one-dimensional development of life through materialism produces greed and therefore exploitation and therefore unhappiness. So therefore you must learn to balance the two. That's what the message I give.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, listeners. That was Dr. Subramanian Swamy, President of Janata Party and a well-known politician of India, in conversation with me on perseverance. Hope you enjoyed this part show. For more updates, log on to poduniversal.com. Please send in your comments and suggestions to editor@poduniversal.com. This is K. Srinivasan, editor of Pod Universal, signing off from the show. Till we meet next, take care and bye.